Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right. Georgia expert says Tennessee is a fraud, and he's basically guaranteed a win by Georgia Saturday night. So for those of you who this is going to obviously trigger in a major way and set you off, now is probably the time to go ahead, get your participation trophy out, put on your Gen Z toboggan, and find your safe space.
Everyone likes me and thinks I'm great in my safe space.
My safe space.
Oh yeah, because this is going to make you mad. I'll just go ahead and tell you. Now, I'm sorry I didn't do a show yesterday. I was on the golf course all day, and I got hit by a golf ball. First time in decades I got hit by a golf ball by a player in my own group. He was about 80 yards from the green on a par 5, and my brother and I, Chilmont, were already on the green, and he was having a little bit of trouble, I guess, finding his ball on the edge of the rough, which we didn't think anything of. So he did find it, and he hit this shot up there. So I stood right behind the pin because that's the safest place to be with this particular golfer that was in my foursome. Well, he pured it, flew the pin, and hit me right in the leg and left a nice little wallop on it. But anyway, not a real big deal. But he came up and told me he was sorry. And then I told him, I was standing behind the pin because I figured that was the safest place to be. And then he took his I'm sorry back. Some of you golfers will appreciate that. But anyway, we're going to get into something that's going to be very controversial. And it's understandable why. This Georgia expert, he's got it figured out. And he says Tennessee's not for real. That we're kind of a big fat fraud or a phony. So before I play that for you, I do want to talk to you about the game and also some stats and a few things, and talk about Nico, of course. That's the big question on everybody's mind. And then I'll play you what the guy said. So again, you've been warned. So, if you're somebody that's real paper thin, it's not the show for you. But anyway, let's talk about this a little bit. Everybody's concerned about Nico, obviously. We're getting good news about him, but again, it's from Josh Heupel. And Heupel is not somebody that likes to show his cards, but here's what he said Monday.
Yeah, he was with us today. Had a really good day. Feel like he'll be in great shape for Saturday. But you guys can monitor the whatever the report is that comes out on Wednesday and track it through the week. But certainly feel like he'll be in a good spot. Okay,
so yeah, it sounds like he's doing good. I would assume that it's some sort of a concussion protocol thing, but they kept him out because of precaution in the second half of the Mississippi State game. That's what everybody's assuming. It must be kind of mild, and sometimes those things are not a big issue in a day or two. Just depends on how severe it was, and it doesn't sound like it was too bad because I think he played a couple of plays after it happened, so it was probably he might have been a little bit off. It's hard to say. They're going to take good care of him. Look, if he's not right, he won't play. I'll just go ahead and tell you they won't take any chances with him. But if he's fine by middle of the week and he's like, hey, I'm ready to go, they'll put him through a bunch of tests and make absolutely certain of that, if that's what the problem is, and make sure he's 100% because they're just not going to put him out there if there's any risk, outside of normal. Look, if you go out on that field, it's risky. I've told you many times, I'd make it 2 plays. I'm a little bit lucky, so I'd probably get through the first play. Second play, they'd take me off in a stretcher. That's just the way it is. So that's the big question mark. The other issue is Carson Beck. Now, Beck came into this season, looked like he might win the Heisman. I mean, he looked great the last year and was really good all throughout the season. This year, it hadn't been that way. He's been very inconsistent, and lately he's been throwing a lot of interceptions. And if you look at his stats this year, last year he had 24 touchdowns and 6 interceptions and had a rating of 167. This year, 17 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So his interceptions already double last year in not as many games. And his completion rate has dropped from 72% to 65%. And I think a big part of it, look, he doesn't have the weapons that he had in the previous years. He doesn't have those great tight ends, a great wide receiver, a great slot guy. Now they've got some guys that are good, but they're not, elite first-round type draft picks. So that's definitely playing a role. And I'm not sure his offensive line is quite as stout. The defense is still really good. They're not as dominant, though, as they've been in the past. I really think NIL has played a huge role. A lot of these dominant teams like Alabama and Georgia that have been on top for years and years, a lot of their players are winding up going to other teams like an Ole Miss, like a Tennessee, like a Missouri, that are getting a lot of 4- and 5-star guys because of this. And Georgia and Alabama, they can compete, obviously, but, the other thing that the teams offer, like Ole Miss, Tennessee, Missouri, and all these teams they're really good, but haven't been nearly as good as Georgia and Alabama, is that they've got playing time. So money and playing time.
Check, please.
That's going to overrule, hey, sitting on the bench, maybe winning a natty, when they can go to a really good team that they could get everything. They can get the money, they can get the playing time, and have a possibility of getting that 12-team playoff. So I think that's playing a big role in giving parity for the entire league and all of college football, really. I think it's fantastic for the fan bases outside of those 2 or 3 teams that have been dominating for 2 decades. And Georgia, who looked fantastic against Texas, went down there and whooped up on them. They've not looked so good. They've lost a couple of games. And this latest game, Ole Miss versus Georgia, is very difficult. I mean, when you look at these stats, they only had 245 total yards, only 59 rushing yards against Ole Miss, 186 passing. That's not so good. And they turned the ball over, 3 times, 2 fumbles and an interception. And they were super careful with Carson Beck to make sure he didn't throw interceptions. Most of his passes were really short or behind the line of scrimmage, which is not like Georgia. Now, they're usually pretty conservative, but not that conservative. It was like that whole game they were saying, well, we're not going to get beat with interceptions, so we're just not going to let Carson, air it out. Again, I don't know how much that's him, how much that's not having the targets out there, those big-time targets. It's probably a combination of both, and it's probably hurt his confidence. That can certainly happen because quarterback play is very much in the head as much as it is physically, because all those guys can throw and spin that thing. But can you handle the pressure? And if you've got great wide receivers, it's amazing how much better your confidence is. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to let you hear this expert. This is from Locked On Bulldogs, and I'm a Locked On fan. Of course, we've got Locked On Vols here with Eric Kane. He's fantastic. But anyway, this guy follows the Georgia Bulldogs obviously very closely and SEC football. Here's his opinion of Tennessee.
Let me get out ahead of it. Tennessee is fraudulent. They're overrated. Georgia's going to beat them on Saturday. Period. End of discussion. Georgia's going to beat Tennessee on Saturday. Take it to the bank. And
to make matters worse, he went on to talk about how Georgia's not great anymore, but they're still going to whoop up on Tennessee because obviously we're a fraud. So needless to say, I let my brother Chilmont in on this, and he was not impressed. I'll let you hear his reaction.
Tennessee is fraudulent. They're overrated. Georgia's going to beat them on Saturday. Period. End of discussion. Georgia's going to beat Tennessee on Saturday. Take it to the bank.
Oh, there they go. There they go.
All right, Chilmont, what do you think about that?
That was interesting, and the biggest load of crap I've seen since a farmer friend of mine put out a load of manure. There they go again. It's like every time if Tennessee gets good, people come out of the woodwork to say, oh, it's a gimmick. Oh, we're fraudulent. Oh, it can't be real. It is real. We've got a great coach. We've got a great system. We got great players. Deal with it. And oh, by the way, was Mississippi fraudulent? Was Alabama fraudulent, who we beat, and Georgia didn't? Come on, John. Come on. It's the same. It's ESPN, the SI, it's SEC, and it's every other team in the SEC. Nobody wants to see us do well. Nobody, except Tennessee fans.
Yeah, well, Tennessee's favored by, I'm sorry, Georgia's favored by 9 points right now, so nobody's giving Tennessee much respect. We don't know if Nico's going to play or not. That's a big factor as well. But they clearly don't think we can play on the road, which, hey, we've not been great on the road. Nobody's good on the road. I can just tell you that. So
SEC is rough on the road, but I mean, come on, if Nico comes in and he's healthy, anything can happen. And I think we got a good shot at beating them. Now, Obviously, you know, the officiating is going to be horrendous and totally against us because it always is. And it'll be even worse there because it always is. You know, we've still got a great shot at beating them. And they're, by the way, name the two teams that are 8-1 versus 2 losses.
Yep, that's
It's
true.
Texas and Tennessee. Everybody else has 2 losses, including Alabama.
I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide, baby.
Don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide.
I love America and I love the Tide, baby.
Tide, go get them. Tide, go take them down.
Yep. So this is great bulletin board material. This is perfect. I would be giving this to the Vol team the entire week. I'd be making sure they saw this and say, well, guys, you've been called out as fraudsters. You know, well, I guess we'll find out Saturday because they need to prepare for a brawl. This is going to be an absolute dogfight. No problem. And they're going to look, Georgia's back's against the wall. They have to win this game, period. And they're at home at night and they got the crowd. So it's going to be insane. And there's going to be, Tennessee needs to come out ready for a brawl. Yeah, especially defensively. But yeah, we got to get out there when we need to try to score early if at all possible. But this, you know, when you can't win on substance, this is the kind of crap you say, and it is what it is. Being Tennessee, it's you know, we're always just going to be the unpopular guy. I don't know why, we just are. And the other thing is, you know, they tell you who they're afraid of. The vitriol, the more vitriol you get, the more they fear you. Yeah, they say you get the flack when you're over the target. Exactly. And we're over the target. Want us to knock Georgia out. Let's just get real. The national media, they don't want us knocking Georgia out. No. Georgia's a big dog. No, they want Georgia in there. They want the big dog or Alabama and possibly Ole Miss because they love Kiffin. But because he always gives them a soundbite. I don't know if they love Kiffin. I know they love Georgia and Alabama. So they're going to look, if they're both have 2 losses, they're both getting in. You know they are.
You and me made friends right off the bat.
Oh, yeah. And they'll get in above us.
Even if we beat them, that is amazing. Because they'll probably put in Alabama ahead of us, even though we beat them, which is just ridiculous. Yeah, we beat them in the head-to-head. But, well, we wanted to be fair to everybody. And by screwing over Tennessee as per usual. So that's what it'll be. We basically have to run the table to get in the playoffs. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I think this is an almost must-win for us, really. It really is. Must-win as it can possibly be, which is odd. I just think it is. Even after this game, we still got a not easy Vanderbilt team who will not be easy at Vandy, although their home field is nowhere near the advantage Neyland is. But still, that's going to be a tough game too. Yeah, I mean, I think. Would I be surprised if we lost to Georgia? No. But would I be surprised if we beat them? No, because we're a good team.
Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Yeah, and Georgia's down right now. They don't have those targets they're used to having. They don't have those big-time wide receiver / tight ends. That's it. And their quarterback has been pretty interception prone. All right. So, yeah, I figured he wouldn't much appreciate that comment. And, yeah, it's on. It's as on as it can possibly be.
Okay. All right. We got served. So now, I guess, it's on.
And we will be ready to play. And if I'm Josh Heupel, I'm playing that video clip for my team all week long. I would get that video clip. I would put it on a big screen. I would pull the entire team in, including the water boy and the equipment trainer. And I would make sure that everybody saw this video and let them know this is a Georgia expert that covers Georgia and the SEC, and this is how little he thinks of you. And he's calling out an automatic win, guaranteed, because Tennessee's a fraud. And I would let them hear that over and over, many, many times, because there's nothing. This is bulletin board material on top of bulletin board material. It's I just wish Kirby Smart would say it. That would be even better. But this is pretty good. This should get Tennessee's attention. So anyway, I thought y'all would either enjoy seeing that or it would, well, it's going to get your attention either way. I know it got mine. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 right there. Hit that little button. Won't cost you a dime. Helps you get my videos. And right over here is the most recent video. YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay. We'll find out Saturday night. It's going to be a tough environment, but anyway, I just thought y'all would want to hear that.